let's talk about bullies. You know, this has really been a big issue, and a guy that really knows a lot about it because this is his involvement in education. Jeff Laundreville, a counselor in psychology, master in education. Now, the new book, Jeff, what is the name of it? The Filter is what you call it, but I think it's got a longer name than that.
It's good to be with you, first of all, Johnny.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's called The Filter, and it's called Unclog the Negativity That's Holding You Back from Having a Wonderful and Extraordinary Life.
Wow, that is a long title, but it's an important one. Boy, unclog the negativity. Now, what has this got to do with bullying?
Well, you know, it really gets into any negative feelings that a teenager or even a child or even anybody older has, but the focus is for children and for teenagers in this book. Mm-hmm. Any negative feeling you have, whether it's depression, anger, sadness, any type of things you're feeling inside your brain, inside your mind, and it comes out in different ways, whether it's bullying other people, whether it's acting out, whether it's any type of negative behavior. And bullying is definitely a part of negative behavior that hurts people.
Well, of course it hurts people, and a lot of people are realizing that, maybe for the first time, because of the Internet. There always have been bullies in school. I mean, everybody has been, I'm sure almost everybody has been bullied by someone, probably through all time. But now, with this instantaneous bullying, a lot of people just do this stuff and they don't think about the consequences. It's on the Internet, and there it is forever for everybody to see.
Right, and you know what? It's even more dangerous now because you can hide behind the Internet because you don't have to know the name. You can hide in Facebook. You can hide behind any made-up name on the Internet, and that's
Sure.
what makes it a little more dangerous. But, you know, these teenagers are really reacting out of emotion, and that emotion isn't in contact with their intelligence. So they're angry, they're sad, they're depressed, they're feeling all these negative behaviors, negative emotions, and they're reacting from it and looking for some type of way of filtering that out, but unfortunately, it's in a negative way, and that intelligence isn't kicking in. And that's why we tell kids and tell a lot of different people, you know, count to 5, take a breath. It's so that the intelligence can keep up with the emotion and say, okay, maybe this isn't good, maybe we shouldn't do this. And a lot of kids aren't taking those 5 seconds and that deep breath. They're just reacting way too much these days.
Yeah, that's the truth, and it has caused some really sad things, some suicides, and I'm sure it's all not over. Now, you do your educational work in Springfield, Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And you were with the public school system there?
I am.
What do you do? What's your exact job?
You know, my exact job is called a student life administrator.
Wow. And
what I do is I concentrate in leadership and emotional intelligence and trying to give kids the idea and the nowhere of how the world works so they can work with it. Mm-hmm. And I strongly believe in emotional intelligence, having that balance of life skills along with the chance to get into a good college, the chance to have that nice balance in life, to have choices through a college degree, but also have choices in that emotional intelligence to know how the world works so they can work with it, like I said.
You've been doing this for how long?
I've been doing this for 15 years in education.
Now, what are the ages of the students you work with? Are they grade school, high school, middle school?
I work mostly in high school, but I do a lot of middle school work as well. The school I work in is a kindergarten through 12th grade school. Mm-hmm. So I work in all different factors of that, but it's mostly in the high school.
Mm-hmm. And what about the students today? In your 15 years, has there been a great change in this, in their philosophy, in bullying and so on?
And, you know, it seems like they're acting out more and more because there's a lot of different problems that students are having. I think, you know, I don't think enough people are realizing how to deal with them. And whether it's the parents, whether it's politics, whether it's teachers, and I think there's a lot of different issues that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
You know, we hear parents and different people calling lawyers way too quickly on situations, but then at other times not calling quick enough. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It seems like there's a balance that people are looking for, but ultimately I don't want to get into the blame excuses of what kids should do because that's where people seem to go with it. I think we have to help them by understanding where this negative behavior, negative thought process comes from and what to do with it.
Well, how do you feel the reaction has been with the students as far as the work that you are doing? Are they receptive? Are they open to this? Are they kind of, hey, I've got to sit in on this class. Who cares?
That's a great question, Johnny. It's you know what? It's all about relating to them and getting to their level and making them understand through different ways of explaining how the world is working and how they can benefit and how they can hurt themselves and how they can actually help themselves. To know the difference between what's good for them and bad for them, and how they see many, many things in their life and they hear many things in their life. What do they do with all that information, and how it can hurt them in the future and how it can help them in the future? And I think if you break that down for kids, they'll really come at you with an understanding. And you know what? If you believe in them and care about them, that's half the battle.
Well, Jeff, we're going to come back, take a short break. I want to talk to you a little more about this if you have a few moments.
Absolutely.
Do you have to go to school tomorrow?
I do, but that's all right.
All right. Well, hold on. We'll get right back to Jeff Landreville. And when we come back, we're talking about this filtering, the book, The Filter. Oh, I got to find out if that book is. I know it's going to be on the shelves very, very soon. You might even be able to pre-order it. Are bullies made? Are they born? What about the parents? We've been talking about the school and the interaction in the school. And what about the peers? The peer, not necessarily pressure, but turning to others in your same age group, your neighbors, your friends, your classmates, and so on, whether it's coming from the school or just in your neighborhood. And what about the parents is a big question, I think. All you have to do, this is it. I am glad that you have done that. I'm Rabbit for Carney right here. We're talking about bullies. We're talking about bullying for the next few minutes. First with our guest, Jeff Landreville, educator from Springfield, Massachusetts. And one of the things about a bully is how the heck does one become a bully? I mean, does it start at home? Does it start when they're little bitty kids before they even get to school?
Well, Johnny, people talk about good role models in life, but there's also such a thing as bad role models. And whether it's in people's family, whether it's what they see in the neighborhood, whether it's seen all these different places. And we all know kids are sponges and soak it all in. Yeah. And sometimes they soak in the negative stuff too. And so I don't believe there's a such thing as born bullies, but I do believe they are made by their environment and the people they are around.
So like their parents could be the ones teaching this.
Exactly. And they're basically looking at their parents to say, okay, is that how we talk? Is that how we do things? Is that how we treat people? And I'm going to pretty much model your behavior. And that's where they pick it up a lot. Now that doesn't mean it's always the parents' fault.
Sure.
It just means that sometimes the parents haven't unclogged their own filters and kind of get into their own life and haven't worked on their own issues and kind of pass that right down to their children. And that's difficult because you hope to break those cycles.
Then, of course, they're watching things on television and cable and some of the crazy stuff that you see, even the cartoons today. I mean, a lot of bullies in cartoons.
Exactly. And, one of the things I say to my daughter, I have a 4-year-old daughter, and what I say to her every single night, and I'll say this as long as I possibly can to her when I see her go to bed every night, I say, honey, you sleep good, wake up better. And what that ultimately means is, of course, I want her to sleep well and wake up better, but understand, and I'll try to explain to her what happened that day and try to make sense out of the day. And like you said, which is a great point, what happened in TV, what happened in her environment, what happened maybe to what a teacher said at school, well, all that is, let's sort out that so she can wake up with a better mindset, even at the young age of 4 years old.
Sure. And when you're in class or at school, do people come to you, kids come to you and say, look, I've got a, they may not be saying in a classroom setting, but as an individual, as a counselor, I got a problem. Can you help me?
Oh, absolutely. That happens all the time. And, you got to be careful with that. Of course, you don't want to be insensitive to the parent, and you don't want to step on the parent's toes. But you can come at it with advice of understanding where the parent's coming from, and understanding what control they have. Because, Johnny, I feel that a lot of teenagers feel they have no control in this world.
Yeah.
And that is very, very frustrating. And that's one of the main things that makes them lash out.
Yeah, of course, that's always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not new.
No, absolutely. But I think they're just finding new ways of lashing out, whether it's through the internet, whether it's through weapons, whether it's through, major situations. And I think that is becoming more new, the ways of acting out in such a major, major situation of actually not even hurting themselves, but hurting others as well.
How would you describe the sort of economic situation in Springfield, Massachusetts? Is this like a high-end town? Is this a town that a lot of businesses have left and people are lower income, or is it a combination?
I'd say it's more on the lower side, and we've had a pretty high crime rate within the last few years in Springfield, and of course that adds to a lot of the anger and frustration within the society. And of course, just like anything else, those children pick up on that negative energy, and then they lash out themselves because, again, they think this is how the world works, because they've only seen that within their small world that they've seen so far in this journey.
Jeff, what about the book that's not out quite yet, or is it?
It's supposed to be out next week. I talked to the publisher today, as a matter of fact, but you can pre-order the book at thefilterbook.net, and I'm also doing a lot of speaking engagements for it. So I'm really, really excited about it. I'm really excited to go around to more schools and talk how we can help teenagers and help kids really understand who they are and where they come from.
I think it's great. Thank you, Jeff, very much for speaking with us. Appreciate it. Go over and have a ginger beer at the Student Prince for me, will you?
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. Jeff Laundreville, an educator, and has got quite a subject that he is working on. It's certainly an important one as we try to raise better citizens of the future.